Okay, bagi ni terus.
Baik kat siapa ni?
Sen.
Sam ni? Check.
Testing. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning to professors, doctors, all my colleagues, and especially very warm welcome. Good morning, assalamualaikum to our speaker today, a very special speaker, but she was our student before in biotech, biotechnology engineering department. So Madam Norahayu Yahya, she is actually the secretariat of Asean and Apec for this month. But before we start, let's start with our majlis today with Umul Kitab Al-Fatihah. Just a short introduction. So Madam Norahayu Yahya. So me and Sister Ilani, who is one of our grant achievement unit staff, we met her I think several months ago at a briefing on Asean And Apec. Now we found that the other universities have very keen interest in these grants, and they are way ahead knowing about these grants than us. So I was like, okay, we need to be ahead and know about the grant opportunities that we can open to our lecturers and so forth. And Alhamdulillah, anywhere we go, there's always an IUM alumni. Really, always an IUM alumni. So this is subhanAllah, very of what we do to our students, and they become leaders and so forth at other places. Very useful for the universities. We want to inculcate that culture that our students are giving back to the university. Anyway, she's the secretary of Asean And Apec grant in the International Division, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. And she will talk about two of these grants. They're similar but different. They have their own, sometimes a lot of these grants, such as the one that we announced in RMC, such as the Toyota Foundation, Asean And Apec and so forth, we're not used to applying it. So we must get ourselves immersed in this type of grants. So how do we get used to it? Is to invite speakers during this time and prepare for the next round when it's open. So we don't prepare when it's just announced in RMC, but we prepare way ahead so that everything is ready. When a speaker comes at this, we can ask her or him questions. But we already have a proposal at hand. So I think we want to make that a culture in RMC, so that we're prepared for years to come, also to inculcate the culture of research and innovation and collaborations among us, also very important, and also among us and other researchers of other universities. Without further ado, I would like to invite the speaker, Norahayu Yahya, to present on which one are you starting first, the Asean or the Apec. It's up to her. Okay?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First and foremost, I would like to say thank you to IIUM for inviting me to give a special presentation on international funding. For me, this is such a great honor to be here back again to present in front of my ex-lecturer here, Dr. Zami, Dr. Azura, and many family faces here. It's such a good pleasure to be invited by IIUM to give back to the university, which has made me become who I am today. So Alhamdulillah, I just want to say it was in IIUM, and of course, although I am not, an academician or maybe not an engineer, but currently I'm working as a government officer at the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. Although it is a different profession, but of course, everyone has their own profession, and inshallah, I will try to do my best for that. Today, before I begin with a detailed presentation about ASEAN cause and APEC PPSDI, I will start by giving an overview about our involvement, mostly involvement at international platforms. So it is better to start first with the general overview before we go into detail into ASEAN cause as well as APEC PPSDI. Okay, just wait. As the method of presentation today, I will divide the presentation into three parts. The first part will begin with the overview of the ASEAN cause and as well as APEC PPSDI. Second, I will go into detail. I will explain about ASEAN cause and what are the available funding opportunities offered by ASEAN cause. And last but not least, I will touch on APEC policy partnership on science, technology, and innovation. Currently, mostly involvement in international platforms are through three various platforms, and they are through regional STI cooperation, second, through bilateral cooperation via the signing of MOU on STI with the related countries, and third, through multilateral platform. And as for today, I'll be focusing on the two regional platforms, namely ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology and APEC Policy Partnership on STI, because these two organizations actually offer annual funding opportunities for member organizations and member economies. I believe that every project that is presented or that apply for the international funding is actually very important, because this project will usually address important issues, and we use the international platform to actually leverage our expertise at national area to the international arena. So it is good for us to share our experiences and also to learn from other countries as well on their experiences and expertise. I'm just going to give 10 quick facts about ASEAN cause and APEC PPSDI. The slide presentation and every detail documents will be placed in this laptop. So in the end of the day, you can take the soft copy from me. Okay, so we will start with the year of establishment of ASEAN cause. It was actually established in 1970. But it was later renamed to become ASEAN Committee on Science and Technology, abbreviated as ASEAN cause in 1970. And currently it has 10 member states. And Malaysia, of course, is one of the founding fathers of ASEAN. And the vision of ASEAN cause is to be an STI-enabled ASEAN through which is innovative, competitive, vibrant, sustainable, and economically integrated. As for APEC PPSDI, it was established in 2012, and currently we have 21 member economies. The difference between APEC and ASEAN is APEC PPSDI and ASEAN cause is that APEC is usually binded by regional economic integration. So any projects are usually must be linked with economic integration. Okay. And the vision is to promote an innovative economic growth through APEC PPSDI efforts by 2025. Okay, currently ASEAN cause are guided by two document policies, and they are ASEAN Plan of Action on Science, Technology, and Innovation. And under this document, we have the strategic trust, the goals, and all the strategic activities that needs to be followed by the member states. And we are also guided by the ASEAN Economic Community Blueprint 2025, because currently STI was restructured from ASEAN socio-cultural community to ASEAN economic community, because we realized that STI is actually generating economic and generating growth towards the economy. Whereas APEC PPSTI is guided by the APEC PPSTI strategic plan and global goals 1994. Okay, so mostly has been involved in various international meetings under the platform of ASEAN COS. There are 3 levels of meeting, and the first one is the working group meeting, the technical group meeting, which comprises of 9 sub-committees and 1 board of advisors to COS. And then we also attend the senior officials meeting, which are normally being attended by the Secretary General of STI-related ministries, and last but not least, ministerial meeting. And as for APEC PPSTI, usually we are represented at the APEC working group meeting. I just want to highlight here, our focal points are also coming from the university based on the expertise. So we welcome interest from the university if you would like to be one of the focal point for ASEAN COS as well as APEC PPSTI. Like I mentioned before, there are 9 subcommittees of ASEAN COS, and we have subcommittee on biotechnology, subcommittees on food science and technology, subcommittee on science, technology, infrastructure and resource development, subcommittee on microelectronics and IT, subcommittee on marine science and technology, subcommittee on material science, subcommittee on sustainable energy research, and subcommittee on space technology application, and last but not least, subcommittee on meteorology geophysics. So every aspect of STI fields are covered under these 9 subcommittees. Whereas for APEC PPSTI, there are 3 groups, and they are enhancing regional science and technology connectivity, second, building science capacity, and last but not least, promoting and enabling environment for innovation. And we are actually reporting to the ASEAN Economic Community under the Ministry of International Trade and Industry meeting. And okay, this is the most interesting part about the funding opportunities available under these 2 regional organizations. And under ASEAN COS, there are actually 2 funding opportunities, and they are ASEAN Science Technology Innovation Fund called ASTIF. The second, funding opportunities by ASEAN Dialogue Partners. Okay. As for APEC PPSTI, we have APEC General Fund, APEC Support Fund, but as you can see, the only difference between APEC PPSTI and ASEAN COS is that ASEAN COS cover both research and capacity building program, whereas APEC PPSTI only fund capacity building program. So any projects, for example, want to apply under APEC PPSTI needs to have the element of sharing of expertise, workshop, sharing of knowledge, something like that. So the project paper needs to be tailor-made to cover the elements of human capacity building. So far, under the ASEAN COS, we have received 5 fundings for these 5 projects. For your information, Malaysia is actually the country coordinator for renewable energy. That's why, as you can see, we have a lot of projects funded under this category, renewable energy. And then we are also the country coordinator for the ASEAN Journal on Science and Technology for Development. So we welcome also manuscript and papers by IIUM after this. Okay. As for APEC fund, we received 3 funds under these 3 projects: workshop on biotechnology commercialization and trade in APEC economies. We also received funds through the education and training program to support nuclear power program. And last but not least, how to communicate effective science. All right. The criteria for fundings, these are just the general criteria for ASEAN COS funding and APEC PPSTI funding. Under ASEAN COS, the application for ASEAN ASTIF will be prioritized based on these 8 thematic areas. As highlighted earlier, we have 9 subcommittees. So under these 9 subcommittees, we have specific priority areas, and these priority areas are actually clustered to become the 8 thematic areas. So any projects that are under these thematic areas will and could be funded by ASEAN Science Technology Innovation Fund ASTIF. Whereas for APEC fund, usually the project must be linked with the economic integration, and then it must be in line with the APEC leaders' growth policy statement, last but not least, it must have the element of policy statement by leaders and ministers. Okay. So far, I just want to highlight to you what have we presented so far at international meeting. This year, we have received approximately 8 projects for the application of ASEAN Science, Technology and Innovation Funds. These are the list of the project. For your information, this project has have been presented at the ASEAN COS meeting last week in Brunei. Okay, and as for the APEC PPSTI, we have presented 3 projects to be considered for the APEC fund for session 2 2017. Okay. These are the focal points for ASEAN COS and APEC PPSTI. Usually the process will involve recommendations and review by our focal points. The focal points are also the one who will attend the international meeting and who will be presenting on behalf of the project components, your project. At certain point, project components will be invited to present your project at this meeting, because usually during this meeting, we will need to present our project to be accepted by all focal points of the other 9 ASEAN member states. So in order to be accepted for the funding, we have to receive consensus from all ASEAN member states. So it is important to present and to get a buy-in from other member states in order for us to be further considered for funding. Okay, this is just an overview about the ASEAN COS and APEC PPSTI. Okay, so I will go into ASEAN COS. I just want to give credit to Ms. Alice Chong, and this slide presentation was actually prepared by her during the workshop on STI international funding on 13 to 14 March. And I will go straight to the ASEAN COS. Just want to highlight here, the ASEAN Plan of Action on STI was adopted on 6 November 2015 during the 16th ASEAN Ministerial Meeting. And the difference between the AFASTI, the short form for ASEAN Plan of Action on STI, and the difference between AFASTI and APAS is that there is an element of innovation. Currently, ASEAN COS is looking into the elements of innovation rather than science and technology alone. So even the project template for ASTIF now has the element of innovation. So every project will be actually prioritized based on the level of innovation. Okay, this is the structure of the STI cooperation in ASEAN. As highlighted before, we have 3 levels of structure. The first one is the subcommittee, the technical group, and the second one is the senior officials level for Secretary General of STI related ministries, and the last but not least is the ministerial level meeting. The role of the subcommittee is to review and give comments and recommendation on your project proposals, whereas this recommendation will be presented to the Board of Advisors to COS. The Board of Advisors to COS will be advising the ASEAN COS on whether the project should be funded or not. And last but not least, the ministerial meeting just will endorse whatever decision that has been made by the ASEAN COS. And currently we have 8 dialogue partners, and some of them also offer funding opportunities. Like ASEAN India, they offer funding opportunities, ASEAN Japan, ASEAN Turkey, and ASEAN Russia. Whereas for other dialogue partners, they do not offer that funding opportunities. Last week we had a meeting with 2 dialogue partners, with Japan and as well Republic Korea, and they also presented on the collaboration project between ASEAN and with the respective country. Okay. So I will just skip this part and just highlight that any project must be in line with the 4 strategic thrusts of AFASTI, and it must be in line with the 8 thematic areas that I've shown to you before.
Okay. Straight into the four strategic thrusts are as follows: collaboration, to strengthen collaboration among academia, research institution, network of center of excellence and the private sectors. And the second part is project that could enhance talent mobility between us and member states. And the third one, projects that could establish innovative system and start partnership with the dialogue partners. And last but not least, projects that are related with the awareness, how to raise awareness on STI. Okay. These are the 8 clusters of the priority areas. So any project that are aligned with the 8 priority areas will be considered for the ASTIF. And these are the 9 subcommittees. So any projects that are aligned with the subcommittees must be applied under this respective subcommittee. So when we write a project proposal, we have to ensure that we identify first which are the subcommittee that are relevant to our project proposals. Okay, as you can see on the screen, these are the priority areas under each subcommittee. Under biotechnology, the focus areas will be on agricultural biotechnology, medical biotechnology, environmental biotechnology, microbial research management and utilization. Whereas for the microelectronics and information technology, these are the areas that will be covered under microelectronics subgroup. And then for space technology, the areas that will be covered are geoinformatics, space technology application, and satellites. And as for material science, the areas that will be covered are nanomaterials, functional materials, biomaterials to biomedical materials. And as for food science and technology, the areas are as highlighted there: functional food, food safety, application of emerging technologies, post-harvest technology. For marine science, the areas are aquatic biotechnology, transboundary aquatic pollution, risk management and mitigation from climate change, and renewable energy. And these are all the priority areas under respective subcommittee: meteorology, sustainable energy research, and science and technology infrastructure and resource development. As for any general STI policy, they are usually covered under SCIRT. The one on the right, under science and technology infrastructure and resource development. Okay. As shown here on the screen, these are other funding instruments other than ASTIF. So we could also apply funding that will be offered by other dialogue partners like India, Japan, ROK, Russia, and China. For information, I think the funding opportunity under ASEAN Pakistan is no longer active. Okay. So these are some of the projects that are being funded by ASTIF. The one highlighted in red is actually the project from Malaysia, and currently we managed to secure 5 projects under ASTIF, and we are looking to secure more projects in the future. Just to highlight to you on the call for proposal, the call for proposal for ASTIF will be before 31st July, but mostly actually set the deadline to 30 June because we need to do some internal review, and we need to review your project proposal and send it to respective subcommittees for comments before we could actually bring it up to ASEAN Secretariat. Before we could actually send the project to ASEAN Secretariat, the project will need to be circulated among the subcommittees from other member states for endorsement, for adoption. All right. Just want to highlight to you the ASEAN Science Technology Innovation Fund ASTIF offers $1 million to fund a project under 5 categories. And the project, as I have highlighted before, must be aligned with the 4 APASTI trusts and 8 STI thematic areas. Okay, and the categories are projects that are related with policy, guideline, and mechanism and frameworks, projects that are related with the foresight studies, development of machinery, services for data sharing and networking, conduct capacity building, or development of public awareness. But they are also research project under the subcommittee on biotechnology. The science-based projects are usually under technical subcommittees such as subcommittee on biotechnology, subcommittee on marine science. Okay. The project must be submitted to International Division mostly as the National Cost Secretariat, and any project must be submitted to me, and then we will bring forward, put forward your project to a respective focal point for further comments and further circulation between the other member states. And for your information, the deadline that was set by the ASEAN course is actually 31st July, and we hope we could announce the result of your application by the end of November, because the project needs to be further presented to the cost meeting for endorsement for funding. So in the end of this year, you will know the result of your application. Okay, so I shall proceed with the APEC PPSA presentation. So far, is there any question from the floor with regards to ASEAN course? Okay. Okay, there are certain cases where we could collaborate with other countries. So that means the project will have two leads rather than one lead. Usually the project proposed by, for example, Malaysia will be led by Malaysia, but there are certain projects also that have two co-leaders. So that means we need to engage first with the other partners from the other member states, and we develop the project proposals together. This year we have a project called just want to highlight the project that has collaboration with Singapore under the subcommittee on microelectronics. The project is called Second ASEAN Course Workshop on Supercomputing. This project is in collaboration between Perdana University and National Computing Centre Singapore. So actually the project proponent approach the project proponents from Singapore themselves, and they develop the project proposals together. So chances for projects that have two colleagues are usually higher, because it shows that the project has more, magnitude in terms of cooperation. Okay, any more? Okay, because this project will use ASEAN funding, usually the project must have benefits to ASEAN member states. It should not be only Malaysian project. This is not Malaysian project. The project must have benefits to at least all other member states. If there is a different treatment, we have to justify. For example, maybe Singapore and for example Korea has more research capabilities, so we have to justify why we choose certain country, because we in ASEAN we do not want other member states to feel offended. So any project must be beneficial to all. Yeah.
How about the duration of each program? And if the program is 30 weeks, short, how many times do you have to report to the press?
Okay.
How many presentations
Okay. I just want to highlight that previously there was no clear mechanism on how to apply for a project. Previously, we just apply for projects anytime in the year. But starting this year, ASEAN Course has made their process clear, in which they put specific timeline for proposal. Okay, so the timeline that they put is on 31st July. So the duration that they give for project to be discussed and endorsed is between 31st July to November 2017. So within 5 months, your project will be reviewed. Previously, the process are quite long and not clear. So right now, we are making the process very clear, in which, the project could be either presented during the subcommittee meetings, which is already, which has already passed, which is in May last week. Or the project could be endorsed by subcommittee through ad referendum, meaning through circulation of email. As long as your project managed to be circulated within the time frame and managed to be submitted to ASEAN Secretariat on 31st July. So at least you will be considered, I mean, your project will be reviewed based on the 5 months timeline until the end of November. Okay. For the projects to be, the timeline of the project, okay, usually ASEAN Cause prefer if the project could have long-term impact rather than a short-term impact. But certain project has shorter project duration, for example, maybe 1 year to 2 years. But there are also project that has long-term impact, which are done in phases. For example, project by Singapore, India Ocean Cruises. Their project was done in 2 years. The first phase of the project was done in 2 years. And then based on the successful acceptance of the project, then the project was further extended to phase 2. So, sorry, Prof, if am I answering your question? Is there anything I should explain more? Okay.
How many
Okay, I think that's the question.
And what sort of progress reports of project should be provided? I mean, you know, some projects provide the conceptual reports, interim reports, draft final reports, What sort of guidelines do we have in your projects?
Okay. Just let me think about it. Okay. For the presentation of projects, how many times? Okay. Usually, if your project, usually we just present the project only at subcommittee meeting one time only. But if the project requires more clarification and detailed explanation, for example, by subcommittees, they are not happy with the projects, they think the project needs to be, the project proposal needs to develop more contents. So
it's not about proposal.
Okay.
Proposal is quite clear. It's about when you secure the project.
All right.
Say 2 years. So within these 2 years, how many times other stakeholders should go and present their results? Is it toward the end of the projects only, or sometimes in the middle of the project's progress, or early in the project progress, that kind of things?
All right. Okay.
Because some sponsors, I asked this, some sponsors provide grants, but very taxing requirements.
Okay.
Whereby you have to present every 3 months progress.
Okay.
You know,
Alright.
which is unbearable to some institutions. So we don't want to be so many bureaucratic procedures.
Okay. All right. Okay. For ASEAN costs, we actually have an annual meeting for subcommittee. Usually during the subcommittee meeting, there are 3 main agendas. The first agenda, completed projects, ongoing projects, pending projects. Usually the project will only be presented one time at the subcommittee meeting under, for example, if your project is still ongoing, so you need to present the status of the project, of the ongoing projects during that subcommittee meeting that usually meets on annual basis. Yes, annual basis. Okay, usually for the subcommittee meeting, we have 2, sometimes annual meeting or twice meeting a year. Okay. For subcommittee, usually we only meet on May. All right. So usually you will only need to present the project on May only. So only one time a year. But there are certain cases, project proponents need not to present directly to the ASEAN member states, but they will only need to present to our focal point. So the focal point needs to be updated with the progress of the project. So what we did at MOSTI, okay, we will collaborate with our focal points, and the focal points are the one who is responsible to get information on the progress of your project. So usually there are 3 steps of the presentation. Okay, first, of course, the presentation to get funding, just the ideas and how we're going to do the project, and then the progress that will be done during the meeting of subcommittee under the agenda of ongoing project. Okay, and then the third one is the completed project. You need to present the status of the completed project during the subcommittee meeting. So you can anticipate at least maybe 2 times meeting. Maybe in 2015 you present the idea, and then if you manage to finish by 2016, you present the completed progress by 2016.
Right. Another issue which I would like to bring in is when we report a research progress to you, is there any tendency to enlarge the scopes of research, whereas the earlier agreed scopes is different? So this is another thing that we would like to clarify. Otherwise, the relevant sample of researchers keep expanding and enlarging the scopes for the initial agreements that researchers might not be able to cope with that. So that kind of thing.
The enlargement of scope, is it proposed by the researchers or the funding sponsor? Funding secretariat. Okay, usually the funding secretariat are quite clear when it comes to the enlargement of the scope. As long as there will be a tendency for them to ask you to research on other matters if they think that would be beneficial. But usually the project will be only based on the initial idea. But if the project proponent want to propose something within the given budget, then it is okay, acceptable. Yeah. Because, for example, okay, when we presented our project, there are maybe other recommendations, for example, by other member states. They want you to, instead of studying marine animal, for example, they want you to study also different organisms, they said, that are related with marine science. So at that point, maybe you presented, you just want to focus on certain species, but they want another species. So if it does not require any additional funding, then it is still acceptable. Yeah. But if you want to enlarge the scope, I believe
researchers, normally technical committee tends to ask something more from what prescribed you are.
All right, okay, understand.
As it happens to your research management. This will not be fair to the researchers if that is done, because it doesn't justify the points of the times, the costs, so on and so forth. So these kind of things, we as a researchers would like to clarify.
In the case of ASEAN course, based from my experiences, I think it is the chances of asking for that are usually minimal. Usually they are just based on the first proposals and also the recommendations. Usually we want to ensure that the project are completed between the time period. So yeah. Maybe I will give you some example of the project that involved 2 phases after this, for further clarification, if I did not answer your question. If that's okay, maybe, okay?
This is just for getting clarification on these two things. The first thing is that is it essentially the projects must be on hard science, like engineering, or it can include also the social science, like economics, business. As I see that there are some first priority areas like water management, and also food security. There is also some kind of management elements are there. So question is that does it include management economics? Is the first one. The second one is that, as you mentioned, project can also be something like conducting workshops, and it can be, of course, member states. So can we do the project just develop sharing of knowledge among the member states? So that's the thing.
Okay, okay. Just to clarify again. Okay, under ASEAN course, the funding could cover research projects as well as capacity building projects. And based from my observations, there are number of projects which are quite which are fundamental, which has the element of fundamental science rather than social science. Okay, for ASEAN course, usually it will cover both hard science and economic science. All right. As you can see from the list of the projects here that was presented, you can see that the element of fundamental science is actually there. For example, under the subcommittee on biotechnology, we are developing skills in immunoinformatics, design peptide vaccine against tropical infections. Okay, so UKM approach, and then we also have project on gene expression by UKM. UKM actually approached us and mentioned asked me whether their project could be, is it possible to present this research project to ASEAN member state? I said, why not? Because you could use the platform to gain ideas and some data from other member states. So it is good to have hard science project, but I would suggest please ensure that there is element of sharing in the end of the end of the project, so that your project could be shared or maybe could be further presented for the benefits of other people. Yeah. As for the workshop, yes, you could also has a project directly on capacity building, like workshop on sharing best practices on, for example, your project or other projects. So under capacity building program, we could do that through ASEAN course as well as for APEC, because APEC specifically gives funding on workshop, training program, or educational program for sharing of experience and knowledge. APEC PPSI is all about sharing of experience and knowledge and benchmarking from other developing economies. I hope I answer your question. Okay. So I will proceed first with the presentation on APEC. As I highlighted earlier, APEC is a little bit different from ASEAN course, because ASEAN course is more technical, whereas APEC usually focuses on project that has the element of economic integration, something that could benefit the member economies. So I will go straight to the presentation on APEC PPSDI. Okay. The objective of PPSI is to support the development of science and technology cooperation, as well as effective science, technology, and innovation policy recommendations in APEC through collaboration between governments, academia, private sectors, and other APEC fora. And we hope to build science capacity to promote an enabling environment for innovation and enhance regional science and technology connectivity. Usually, APEC are bounded by workshops that has the element of regional economic integration as well as policy sharing. So APEC is clear-cut, only fund that kind of activities rather than research-based project. Okay, for APEC PPSI meeting, we usually meet twice yearly. Okay, during the meeting, what we did, we are going to present your projects during the meeting to all the 21 member economies. Okay, the presentation was actually conducted to get buy-in, lobby from the other APEC member economies. Okay, the reason for that is that when we want to submit our project to get APEC fund, the project must have at least the endorsement or support in terms support by at least 2 member economies. So that's what we need to present. And if there are any interested member economies, they will need, or we will write to them, and we will need to have a proof of co-sponsorship from them. In In APEC, co-sponsorship means support in terms of participation, support in terms of helping you to build your project proposal, or support in terms of giving you experts to be part of your, for example, project. Okay, so it is very different from ASEAN course. Okay. As for APEC, usually your project must be aligned with the ministerial or leader statement. So we need to actually have a look at the APEC website, and under the category of APEC PPSTI, we need to ensure that our project are actually in line with the APEC leader statement in a bigger picture, rather than focusing mainly on Malaysia for example interest. So, okay. So far, almost 80 to 100 projects are being approved per year. APEC is quite, how to say, generous in terms of giving funding. But having said that, generous means they're actually looking at the project that has bigger impact on other member economies. The value for the project that will be funded are usually up to 130K USD. Okay, and there are 2 cycles for funding applications. The first one was actually back in March, in which we already missed it. The second one will be on 16 June, okay. But mostly it has actually set internal deadline for the submission to be at least 2 weeks before 16 June, because we need to get 2 co-sponsors from other APEC members. We need to send email to the focal point and get, co-sponsorship. So that's why we need to have our own internal deadline, okay? And these are some of the examples of APEC projects. Usually they are in the form of workshop, seminar, symposium, research project, but I think they no longer support the research-based project, publication, websites, short-term training sessions. Okay. Just go straight. So usually for STI related projects, we could apply the fund under APEC support fund, under the general fund, okay, and we could also apply under the APEC support fund under the sub funds, okay. Under this ASF sub funds, we have sub funds under the category of human security, health and emergency preparedness, energy efficiency, supply chain, mining. If your projects are under these sub-funds, then meaning you could directly apply under these respective sub-funds. If your project is not listed under these sub-funds, then you must apply under the APEC general fund. Okay. So far, the rate of success is approximately 42%, because every year we receive a lot of project proposals. And the process are usually based on lobbying support by other members' economies. Okay, I will inform you the process later, just to highlight to you how the process of global works. Okay, these are some of the examples of the project that have been approved by APEC. Okay. You can see the development of methodology and analysis of SN cooperation in APEC region, and APEC Smart City Innovation and Technology Cooperation Forum, the Young Scientist Workshop for the APEC Roadmap of Science Communication. And there are some examples of the projects that have been approved under the platform of APEC PPSTI. So far, 14 projects of APEC PPSTI have been funded since 2013. Okay. Okay, as for the process of the approval for concept note, okay, we need to develop a 3-page of concept note. Okay, I'll show you the sample of the concept note later. Okay, and then the next step will be we will submit your concept note for co-sponsorship at least by 2 member economies, and then we will submit the concept note to a program director. Okay. After that, the program director will circulate your paper to all the 21 member economies, and they will rank accordingly. if your projects are being ranked high by other member economies, that means chances of getting sponsors are quite high. There are actually no cap on, for example, only rank 1 to rank 10 will be sponsored, because it is depending on the budget management committee based on the available funding. If, for example, they have funding for 21, they will just consider all projects. But if they only have funding, for example, maybe 10 projects, so only 10 projects that have the high rank that will be fully considered for funding. Okay, so the role for mostly is actually to help ranking the concept notes given by the other member economies, and this are some of the criteria whether the project are aligned with the PPSCI strategic interests, and whether the project are aligned with our economic interests, and whether our project are in line with the host economic interests, and whether the projects are high in quality. Okay, APEC is a little bit different because like ASEAN, we put a clear-cut criteria. Okay, your project will be based on 8 thematic areas, the fixed 8 thematic areas, whereas for APEC, sometimes it depends on the host economies. For example, Vietnam, they put this as their 4 themes. I can see that something that related with STI actually covers under food security and sustainable agriculture in response to climate change. So for STI related projects, I could say we could usually apply under the last theme, under the theme food security and climate change. Okay. As for next year, Papua New Guinea will be the host economy, and Papua New Guinea will actually set their own priorities. So, and Malaysia will be the host economy, country in 2020. So we will also set our own theme. So the funding are actually depending also on the host priorities. Okay. So these are the sample of the concept note. Okay. Like I mentioned before, the concept note for APEC must be in line with the APEC goals and how the project could benefit all the member economies. And then we have to link our project with the APEC priority goals as well as leader statement. And then we should highlight which funding criteria, which fund could cover this project. Chances for projects to be funded will be high if, for example, you apply, for example, under sub-fund mining, which has less application. So, for example, under mining only 2, so chances for you to get funding is high compared to if you apply under general. If you apply under general, you have to compete with almost 20 sub-forum. So, it is advisable to tailor-make your project to the 10 sub-funds that I highlighted earlier. Okay, so these are the sub-funds. If your project are categorized under MSME, energy efficiency, innovative development and economic reform and growth, then chances to be funded will be quite high. Okay, so I will just proceed with showing to you the example of concept note that we have so far that managed to get funding. Yes? Okay.
Okay, before I ask, I appreciate one or two panel can be switched off. Too cool, right? All right. Interesting is to see the applies grants, possible grants, one of which relates to micro, small, and medium enterprises. And it is a priority of Vietnam as a host of APEC this year, right?
Yes.
The issue is that the dates for application is the 23rd June of this year, last year, so we cannot have a chance to apply for this year.
For this year, the date is for application is actually 16 June, but we also put internal deadline by mostly, at least you have to submit to us by, which is maybe you don't have enough time to develop the concept paper, but don't worry, we could prepare for early next year submission, because early submission will be in February or March. Yeah. So the reason why it is good that this workshop is being conducted now, so that we could actually prepare ourselves for next year.
But the issue is that post will be taking over the post of 2018 affairs. And whether or not that areas of priority would be given again.
Okay. All right. Okay. As for APEC host priorities, usually the 3 priority areas are usually okay. I would say this is based from our study on the priority areas set by previous APEC host economies. Usually the 3 priority areas, the infront, the sustainable, inclusive, and innovative growth, regional economic integration, and MSME are the, how to say, the compulsory theme, whereas the last theme are usually related with STI. So the 3 things, the 3 things are usually fixed. As for Papua New Guinea, during the meeting last time in May, they did not actually present their themes yet, but they just highlighted the 3 themes would be almost similar with the current theme, but the last one will be different. I think the last one will be digital economy, digital innovation. They mentioned something about digital innovation, but they are still revising it. So I guess by the end, I hope by the end of this year, or at least by November or earlier, we could get the priority areas, but by Papua New Guinea. But the indications are the 3 themes will be remain, and the last one maybe will be on digital innovation. Yeah. So for Chile, they will be the host for APEC in 2019. Chile also has not set yet their criteria as well. For Malaysia, we are still discussing on the proposed priority areas. So I guess this is also one of the good platform for me to actually gain some information. What are the priority areas that we should put for STI related matters, so that we could have at least STI under the last theme for APEC 2020. I guess AMITI as the coordinating ministry will do the process of getting information from all stakeholders. Yeah, so they will do the brainstorming session, and I hope if I could get an indication of interest from IUM to join to help us setting the priority areas and the themes, then we are happy to receive the participation from IUM. Okay, any more questions? Yes. Okay. For the APEC projects, okay.
The question is, the project which we apply, that must be in line with the theme of the host country. Is it that?
Okay. I would say this is based on their guideline. The concept note must be aligned first with APEC priorities, the general APEC priorities. Second, the APEC host economies priorities. Okay. And as for the third one, we must also align it with the APEC PPSI policy, which I will show you. Because under APEC PPSI, we have 3 subgroups: regional, capacity, and innovation. So we also must align our project with the priority areas of capacity of APEC PPSI. But that 3 things must be in the concept note. Must be aligned with the general, the overall APEC priorities. Second, the host priorities, and third, the subgroup, the APEC PPSI priorities. I just want to share with you. This is the concept note from Academy of Sciences Malaysia, which managed to receive to secure funding in 2014, and their title is the title of the project is Young Scientist Workshop for the APEC Roadmap of Science Communication. Okay, I'll just show you the template for concept note for APEC before we go to ASEAN course. Okay. As you can see, the proposing APEC economy is Malaysia, and then we are applying under the platform of the sub-forum of PPSTI. And for the cost sponsoring part, economies, this part, usually it will be done by Mostly. Mostly is the one who's going to get the buy-in, the lobbying from other member economies. So all project proponents should leave this part aside. Okay. Usually the project that apply the funding for that particular year need to finish by the end of next year. For example, we apply for 2015 and we will know the result actually by that year. For example, we apply for the first session in March. The result will be known by May. You need to complete the project by December next year. Yeah, so that is the procedure for APEC. Okay, so if for example you apply for session 2, which will be on 16 June, the project still needs to be completed by December 2017, December 2018. So it is usually advisable to apply for the first session so that you have more time to prepare your project or something like that. Okay, just want to share with you for ASEAN course. Usually, once the funding is being approved by the ASEAN course, we will get the grant, I think lump sum from the ASEAN course. But for APEC, usually they will give you in stages. It's quite different. You will not get immediately 130K from APEC. But as for ASEAN course, they will usually give you lump sum, and you need to manage it properly and need to give a report on how you use that fund. And if there is any extra extra money, then you have to return it back to ASEAN course. Yeah. Okay, coming back again to the template of proposal for template concept note. Okay, before we develop the complete project proposal, we need to first develop the 3-page concept note. This one. Okay. For the APEC project, first you need to prepare 3-page concept note, just a brief idea about your project. After we submit your project for the funding application, your project will be reviewed by the Budget Management Committee, and they will decide whether your project should go further to be funded or not. Once you receive in principle agreement by the Budget Management Committee that your project will be further funded by APEC, then you need to develop the complete project proposal that has details or the financial expenditures. As for the concept note, the 3-page concept note is actually quite brief, but it must give clear view on how are you going to conduct that project and how much cost is incurred. Okay. Okay. Once we submitted our concept note, as I mentioned to you earlier, the project concept note will be further circulated to APEC member economies for scoring process and ranking process. Okay, the highest score, the project with highest score will usually be considered for further funding until available funds are depleted, and then we will receive the in principle approval by the Budget Management Committee, and then only after that we will develop a full project proposal, and we will work with the Secretariat until the project proposal is satisfactory, and then we will get the fund from the APEC. So that is the process for APEC, and this is the sample of the concept note from APEC, which was prepared by ASM, and they received this fund in 2014, and the program was actually conducted in 2015. Okay, as you can see, the project synopsis here. Why should APEC undertake this project, and what problem or opportunity will be addressed by this project, and why this project is important? So in this part, we will need to highlight, we will need to give the problem statement and detail out why this project is important. And the second part, the objectives must be very clear and specific and succinct. Usually APEC will refer to this objective because they want to see, in the end of the day, what are actually the outcome of the project. Usually the outcome will be in the form of policy recommendations or policy statement, but I would say usually it is in the form of policy statement, something that they can, something that are, you know, tangible, okay? And then in this part, the project alignment, we have to ensure that we relate this project with the APEC main priorities as well as the host priorities. So this is the part where you should put the information on this project conforms to rank 1 of the priority areas, and this project are in line with the host economy priority areas. So this is the part where you put information on the alignment, okay? And this is the methodology. How are you going to implement that project? So you need to put in the time frame for you to conduct how are you going to conduct the project, okay? This is just a sample. Okay, so is there any question from the floor on the concept template?
Things part of the Ministry of Ministry
of Science.
Science and Innovation. I was wondering if other ministries have similar setup, because I'm in arts, and I was wondering whether who's looking after culture and arts.
Okay.
ASEAN.
All right. Okay. I would go back to the just giving you the under ASEAN, we have 3 pillars. The first pillar is ASEAN Political Security Community. This pillar is being coordinated by Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Any related matters to security and political matters will be under Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Okay, for any matters related to arts, will be under the purview of Ministry of Tourism, MOTEC, okay? And MOTEC is actually the coordinating ministry for ASEAN socio-cultural community. Usually they also has the same setup, like for example ASEAN COS. Whereas for ASEAN COS, we are actually under the pillar of ASEAN Economic Community, because previously ASEAN COS is under the pillar of ASCC, but since STI is also generating income to the growth of the country, so we are repositioning the ASEAN COS from ASCC to ASEAN Economic Community. So currently we are reporting to Ministry of Trade Committee. Yeah, I hope it answers your question. Okay. All right. Maybe we could have a look at the ASEAN COS, ASEAN STI template before I go from table to table. Maybe you need to ask more questions. Okay, if you wish to apply for the ASEAN Science, Technology and Innovation Fund, we need to use the new template for ASEAN ASTIF. this template was actually endorsed during the last meeting in Brunei. So this is the new project proposal template. Okay. We need to classify whether the project is aligned with under which trust. We also need to take under which element does this project cover. Okay, and then the category of your project. Okay, so we need to state the general information about the project. Okay, and what are the methodology, what are the results, what are the anticipated results, and any additional supporting document, for example, like the timeline, the expenditure of the project. Okay, for ASEAN Science, Technology and Innovation Fund, currently the process of reviewing the project is divided into two. For projects which are above 50,000 USD, the project will be reviewed by the Board of Advisors to Cost. Okay, I'll just show you again the structure. For project under 50,000 KUSD, upon recommendation by subcommittee, the project will be approved at the Board of Advisors to Cost level. The Board of Advisors to Cost will endorse the project and recommended it to ASEAN Cost for further funding approval. For project above 50,000 USD, the project will need to be validated by Board of Advisors plus 2 experts on that particular areas. So that are the current mechanism on how to review the project. Previously, before 2017, the project was being endorsed by the subcommittee and directly to Board of Advisors, directly to ASEAN Cost. So only 2 stages involved: recommendation by subcommittees and directly to ASEAN Cost. Now, ASEAN Cost has set up a new mechanism on how to review the project. Okay. So I hope the presentation is quite clear because it is not meant to be too deliberative, but rather sharing ideas on what are the funding available opportunities. Okay. 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 Let just me highlight again. If you notice, under the, for example, this part, okay, usually we will use the name of the organization to apply. So in this case, we use IIUM. So we consider IIUM as our project proponent. So if the project proponents are not Malaysian, we could propose you to collaborate with using the local university to apply for that project. Because the project under Perdana University, I think the project champion is actually not Malaysian, but he applied it under Perdana University, so it is possible. You mean research agency, private entities? Okay, currently we are looking into expanding the application to private entities, but I think ASEAN Cost currently is only giving grants to, for example, universities and research agencies registered under that ministry. But we hope to expand it further to private companies. Yeah, looking forward into that possibility. Okay. Yeah, actually, okay. In this case, it's better to use the name of the researchers, because for this one, the project overseers, we use the Academy of Sciences Malaysia, because the Academy of Sciences Malaysia is actually the agency under MOSTI, and the project are registered under the name of Academy of Sciences. That's why we are using the CO name. But still, usually. Okay. Okay, let me just.
No, wait a minute. Please. Mr. Lyons.
Okay.
Well,
Let me just take the sample of the project that we presented. As for this year, I think we presented 8 projects, and we are actually using the name of the university, the name of the project proponents. Okay. I'm looking actually at the sample of the project that we had submitted to Asean course. I don't have it. Sorry, it seems a lot. Sorry, you have to look at this. Actually looking at the sample of the project proposal. I think we use, okay, this one. Okay, for example, this is the project by Institute of Medical Research, IMR. The proponent name is actually the name of the researcher herself, so use your name. But for agency, and mostly usually we use the head, the CEO name or even the project director. But we do have information on focal point, who should we contact. But for ASEAN, I would advise you use the name of the project researcher. Yeah, like this, we are using the name of the project researchers. This is the sample from, okay. %, meaning acceptance of the project. Success rate. Okay. All right. Based from my calculation, okay, 5 out of several projects, the success rate for ASEAN course project are usually under 50%. Okay, under less than 50%, but that was before APASTI is being adopted. Previously, before APASTI is being adopted, there are no clear mechanism on the project application process. But starting from this year, they are making it more clearer. And I would say after starting from this year, we could see more projects will be funded because we have dedicated 1 million for that particular application. And then I would say chances to get project starting from this year will be higher than before. Yeah, because this is like international grants.
Yes.
Yeah, I would just say less than 50%, but I hope the success rate after this. Okay, you could submit the soft copy through us, to us directly, International Division, because our role, International Division, is the focal point. We are the focal point, and we will collect all the project proposal from university and research management centers and any institutions, and then we will submit it all together to Secretariat, ASEAN Secretariat, only after we did our own internal review process. In mostly, we have our own review process. Okay, I would say it is based on the recommendation of the focal points. Usually, the focal points will review the project based on the priority areas. So far, I would say all projects that have been submitted to us are being submitted directly to ASEAN Secretariat. Okay, like this year we received 10 projects, but we only submit 8 projects because the other 2 projects under subcommittee on food science and technology are not aligned with the priority areas. They are actually under agriculture, under another subcommittee. Yeah.
So it's social science and science. Science and social science, all activities will be accepted.
For ASEAN course, as long as the projects are under the 9 subcommittees, listed will be considered. Social science and hard science. This is based from the list of the projects that I received so far. We could see that there are a mixture of projects. There are some technical projects, and this year we started to see more technical projects. For example, under the subcontinental biotechnology, more technical project has been widely accepted by Asean course because they want to promote the culture of research and innovation among the member states. Okay. Anything else? I hope this session is informative and refreshing.
If you want to apply, you need to know all these things. So it's excellent education, but on top of that, you need some more information. You have a website or the application form.
Okay. As for ASEAN course, we have the website called ASNet. ASNet. I don't know, I don't have internet. Okay, under ASEAN course, we have a website called ASNet, but I would say the website is still in the process of development. So far, not much information are put there. But for APEC, yes, they do have a good database of successful projects, and they made it public. So for APEC, you could see all the list of the successful projects on the website, and they put it on public. apec.org. Yeah, you can just put apec.org. That is for APEC. For ASEAN course, it is called ASNet. ASTNET. But the ASNet website is actually general. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Okay. Under different ministry, for example, MITI, yes, they do have a similar committee, yes, MITI. But MITI focus area is mostly on trade-related matters, economic matters. Mostly, come again? APEC division, yes, APEC division under MITI. Yeah, maybe after this I can get proper contact details because MITI also is looking forward to get more papers from related to economic and trade matters. We have I think SME sub forum. We have other sub forum which could match your interests more rather than APEC PPSTI. Yeah. So I think my presentation almost ended up, but as highlighted here, this is only part of the funding opportunities. There are also available funding opportunities on the different platform, which I have not mentioned here. For example, like ICGEB, NAM-ISTIC, and on this note, I would just like to share, we do have a lot of invitation to attend workshop and capacity building program. So I guess I'll take the list of participants from the secretariat, and if there are any course which could be of interest to any professor here, so I guess we could extend the invitation. Okay. For example, like this year we have workshop on marine science, in which one of the professor will apply for this APEC fund. I think Professor Dr. Rosni from UMT. We actually submitted his name to attend the workshop in Japan. So other than submitting the funds, there are many workshops being offered by ASEAN course and APEC PPSTI, which could be of interest to you. So yeah, usually I will just circulate the information to respective, for example, International Division of Ministry of Higher Education, and sometimes directly to the university.
I was given a chance
Okay. Okay.
to presents on small and medium enterprises.
Oh, okay.
But if what I'd like to ask you is that if we have a proposal, specific proposal, but we are unsure about the chances whether to go through APEC, ASEAN, or other agencies. You as secretary there might be able to help us out to identify this particular proposal, stand the best chance to get a secure funding from specific. Can you do
Yes,
that?
that is actually the role of focal point. So my role here is actually to give advice on what could be the possible funding sponsor that you could apply from. So our role is actually to give advice also. If we see your project is related to maybe APEC, mostly to APEC, then we will actually propose you to put forward your project under the APEC platform. If we think this project could be applied also under ICGB or maybe NUM ISTIC platform, we would propose that way. Yeah. So I will always look forward for email or requests from university. I will try to help my very best for IIUM. But of course, I'll be partial to everyone. But of course, IIUM always has special interest in my mind, in my heart too. No, maybe because I'm the alumni, so IIUM is like so close to my heart. I love IIUM. Is there any more question from the floor that I could help to answer, to clarify? If not, maybe I can just end up this presentation. I just want to say thank you so much again to IIUM for inviting me. And if there is any flaws with the presentation, if I did not deliberate enough, maybe you could contact me, or maybe we could further discuss after this, maybe through email or any form of communication. And okay, my email address is Norahayu, my full name, N-O-O, just put here, at mosti.gov.my. This is my phone number, and I am welcome. Yes, so for any, this is my office number, but usually I'm not all the time at the office. Yes, you could WhatsApp me, and inshallah I will try to help whenever possible. Yeah. Question. Sorry. Yeah. Also, alternative emails are really, if your email is too big in size in terms of, sometimes most email could not accept project proposals that are actually documents that are more than 5 megabytes, 5 MB, I think. So you could use the alternative email. Come again? Oh, okay. I think I know. In mostly we also have a funding division, Bagian Dana, which also offer I think few grants under Science Fund, InnoFund, Techno Fund. Yeah, but that one is under the purview of different division. But as the focal point of international division, I can help you to get in contact with them. Yeah. Okay. Currently, we are actually exploring the potential of having R&D collaboration at international platform, but we are actually looking into that possibility using the concept of non-money cross-border, meaning you could have international R&D collaboration with, for example, Thailand, but Malaysia will support your grant here with the concept of non-money cross-border, but we are actually exploring the possibility, and we are developing the mechanism to do that. Yeah. Okay, so I guess, yes, I will put I will actually put this folder here with all the concept notes. So yeah, it is all here. So under this file, you could also see the old template, which you could use to have a reference. Under APEC folder, there are sample of concept note as well as project proposal and other concept note from other successful applicants from China, US, and Vietnam, which we could emulate and learn and benchmark to. Yeah. So I guess that's all. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much for Rahayu. Thank you very much for a very informative presentation. I think it's very important for us to know what available funds are out there, and you have spoken specifically on two funds coming from MOSTI and under the purview of MOSTI. So inshallah, we hope that this will allow us to plan. If there's some, I hear that there is one or two people that I know that still trying to make it for the June deadline. But if that's not possible, we can still, because this is something that we have to think of, and this is something that we know about now, and this is something that we can plan for, if not this year, at least for next year. So we all really appreciate your efforts, and she has even given her handphone number, which I'm sure she doesn't give very easily, I think, right? But because you are close to her heart, so we are able to at least WhatsApp you if we have some questions, and contact you by email, inshallah. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being partners in the research endeavor. Inshallah, with that kind of spirit, we hope to allow the university to also increase in the number of research grants acquired and so on. So thank you so much for being here. Yes, the folder. Okay, we will send it to the participants who have registered. Make sure that your names are here. We will send it to them, and we do have a token of appreciation. Because our former MC was called to attend the UMC, so I'm the redundant MC.
Your thumb drive, sister. Nora, your pen drive, right?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, we have actually department meeting now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. Actually,
it's a good time.
we joined to the
It's a good time if you want to meet everyone because of the department meeting.
It's a compulsory.
Okay, just drop by.
Yeah. Let's go. Okay, I'll call it. I was interested because of international park, so
Yeah.
let's see how we can do it.
No, it's hers.
Huh?
Maybe it's her.
Nurali was given under you? About you? Uh-huh.
I think was last year.
You joined 7.